Hey everyone, what is going on? Elvis here. Today we're going to be talking about Diablo 3s. Yes, I've been playing on the PTR 2.4 and it's been really cool, so I thought I'd just share my experiences so far. Yeah, Diablo 3 obviously has a very special place for myself, and we've been waiting for some really cool stuff, and we've got the cool stuff on the PTR, and let's talk about it. So, first of all, there's been some unique changes. I won't go over all of them in general, but I will go over the stuff that's like kind of stood out the most to myself. Number one is that like XP gear has copped a massive nerf, and it looks a little bit different. Like, so for example, when you have gear that you've got like, plus 30% extra XP or whatever, it actually has brackets now, and it says, at level 70, that equals to, say, 3.4%. Massive nerf to XP. This does have relevance because right now the meta, when you are fully geared, revolves around Paragon points. And, you have more chance of upgrading your character by stacking experience gear to get a couple more points. Because that +5 to dexterity or whatever is more than the odds of trying to find an ancient whatever with the stat that's slightly higher than what you've already got. That's the reality of it. So this is really cool. It doesn't completely get rid of the XP farming. That's still going to be an enormous part of it. It closes the gap slightly more, like 10-20% more than what it previously was. So I'm really happy about that. This change is amazing. It's weird because when I first started Diablo 3, Magic Find was the big thing, and they nerfed, like, you guys probably, if you've joined Diablo 3 in like the last, 6 months, you probably don't even, haven't even acknowledged Magic Find. Maybe you looked at it for a bit and whatever, but back then, that was the biggest thing in the game. XP farming just happens to be the biggest thing in the game right now for the late meta. But most of us don't actually experience that because we're not Paragon 1000 and, trying to get one more level for 5 more dex stats, you know what I mean? So, whatever stats the character plays. But that's really interesting. I actually really do like that. It's not quite the whole, head first. It's still something though, and that's great. The other cool feature that I really like is that Death's Breath is now glowing blue, and it's such a small, visual feature, but it does make a big difference. I've got thousands of these things. It doesn't bother me too much, but I know when the patch launches, it's gonna really bother me because Death's Breath during the first 2-3 days or whatever, they're so valuable during that period. So it's cool to see them. They have a lot more value when you do start the game. And I think Blizzard definitely has identified the fact that people get the most of Diablo 3 out of the very first, say, 2 weeks of the experience of the patch. Then we've got the mid-tier people who are like, yeah, I'll stick around and play it for a bit. And then they kind of fall off. And then we've got the hardcore gamers, which, a lot of my friends will stick around the whole way. And I log on to, my battle.net client, and they're on Diablo 3. They're still playing this game and having fun with it too. So there's 3 tiers to the players. So they're definitely appealing to that first 2 weeks or so. Now, the last thing that I wanted to talk about today, which is going to be the main topic of this discussion, and that is that why does Diablo 3 not go for the World of Warcraft route, where it's like if you buy the game or you play the season, you automatically get a level, 90 character, whatever it is in WoW. And this is an interesting topic to me. So I was speaking to a friend from the Big Ds, and we're talking about some different stuff. And one of those things was cognitive biases. And this is something that I've been fascinated for in the last 2 weeks, and I really want to look more into it, and I have been. But there's something really interesting that I think reflects directly on Diablo 3 on a philosophical level that the developers are really coming through. And I don't know if these guys are conscious about this. These guys are performing it right now in D3, and WoW are not. They're going the worst route they can possibly go. Anyway, let's talk about it. So cognitive biases, they're basically things that we have. Go on Wikipedia, go and look it up if you want to. There's so many that you can look up, but one of them is the IKEA effect, and it's stupidly named for such a serious topic, you know what I mean? Like, something so embedded in our psychology. Hey, the IKEA effect, that's what we're going to call it. Anyway, what is the IKEA effect? And what is cognitive biases? So the IKEA effect is a cognitive bias in which consumers place a disappropriately high value on products they partially create. The name derives from the Swedish manufacturer retailer IKEA, which sells furniture products that require assembly. So you guys, I'm sure that you guys can totally see what I'm getting at right now. The value that we hold as players comes from the assembly of the characters that we make. You know what I mean? Like, Blizzard already has the majority of the tool sets given to us, and this was definitely intentional. Blizzard do a great job of making things massively approachable. You know, worldwide commercial success involves simplifying things as much as possible. Blizzard do that great. We've got all of the tools. Look at the rune system. Diablo 2, it took, you know, maybe a week to level up and explore just one build on a skill tree. And the difference at the end of the meta was one stat point. Now it's like, I'll just swap over that rune and we're all good. We can test that out. It's clear this is what Blizzard does well, and I'm not putting that down. I think it's a great thing what they do. They made the gameplay awesome. They made the customization and, you know, hardcore gamer stuff not as awesome to appeal to a greater audience, which is fine. It's very appropriate for Blizzard's Activision Blizzard's status as a company anyway. So yeah, anyway guys, so the reason why I'm giving props to Blizzard right now is that the fact that they didn't go down the route of, oh, here's a character guys, there you go and have fun. That's like last resort stuff. You know what I mean? You have way more attachment to build your character. On that note, my experience so far on the PTR, if they didn't have the legendary buff rate, I would have not have gone as far as I am right now and continue to play. I can't wait to make more videos on it because of the massive buff rate, mainly because I have less value on the PTR because it's not real. You know what I mean? It's public test realm, and I know that it can get refreshed at any time, changed at any time. You know, it's real when the patch comes out. My goal is to get experience before I jump into it, especially if I plan on making videos on it. I briefly remember them saying something like they've shortened the leveling experience just slightly during, you know, say the first day when you're leveling up to 70. Try to understand, like, never think that, shit, I have to grind to level 70 again and again and again just to play a character. And I'm acutely aware of this because I play hardcore and I've done it probably, you know, 50 times more than most players in softcore. This is one thing that I've often criticized. You know, I don't want to go through the campaign again and do all this shit again. I just want to get level 70. That's where the value comes from. So power leveling kind of does short circuit this. Although I do feel like, you know, if you level a character up, you get all this awesome gear. And if you're like me, you pre-plan for hardcore deaths from disconnects and all that stuff. You keep a secondary gear set and then just get power leveled up and it's your new character. But there's still some value there. It still crosses over in some sense with the character building. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video on the PTR. I'm literally currently just getting all of the sets that I want to experience the new set dungeons. That's my goal right now. So it's been a heap of fun to come back. I'm playing the monk, as you guys can see, but I do want to explore all of the characters actually. So trying to feel what's really cool. My name is Elvis. Subscribe if you want to see some more Diablo 3s. I got a sneaky hunch that we're going to see a lot more of it very soon. All right, guys. Catch you next time. See ya.